Embrace impermanence, cultivating peace in change. Are you exhausted by life's swings? One day uplifted, the next ruined by worry? What if the secret to lasting peace isn't learning to control the world, but learning to embrace its constant change? Tonight, I'll show you an ancient Buddhist truth, a practice so practical and radical that when you truly feel it, anxiety begins to loosen its grip. This is the art of impermanence. Stay with me, and by the end, you will have tools to turn life's shifting sands into ground of your strength. The shifting sands of life. Picture your life as a stretch of shore. Waves arrive and leave without asking. People come and go. Jobs start and end. Bodies age. Even your thoughts, the companions you think you own, wake and vanish like passing seabirds. Yet most of us live as if the shore can freeze. We build castles of expectation, then rage when the tide reshapes them. We crave stability. It's natural, but the deeper problem is not change. The problem is resistance. We resist the fact that everything is becoming. This resistance shows up as anxiety, attachment, regret. It is why your heart feels raw when something shifts unexpectedly. Not because change is cruel, but because you are holding it as if it were permanent. Let me tell you about Mira, a young woman I once heard about. Mira had a small cafe she poured her heart into. For 5 years, the cafe was her identity. Opening hours, cup recipes, familiar faces. One morning, a new road diverted the city's traffic, and customers dwindled. Mira's instant response? Panic. If the cafe closes, who am I? She asked. In that panic, she forgot a simpler question. Who was she before the cafe? Once she remembered her own breath, her love of cooking, her capacity to learn. She pivoted. She turned the space into a community kitchen on some days, taught classes on others. She let the cafe change, and in doing so, she found resilience. That's the paradox. When you hoard stability, you lose your adaptability. When you learn to let go, you gain freedom. Understanding Anicca, the Buddhist. In Pali, the Buddha used a word, Anicca, impermanence. It simply means all conditioned things arise and pass away, not in some distant metaphysical sense, but in every moment. Your breath, your feelings, the cells of your body, the relationships you treasure. Nothing stands still. This is not pessimism. It is radical clarity. It frees us from holding on to illusions that breed suffering. When the Buddha taught impermanence, he didn't suggest you stop loving. On the contrary, he invited a more mature love, a love that appreciates fully without trying to own forever. Imagine holding a ripe fruit in your hand and tasting every note of sweetness, fully aware that the fruit will rot. The savor is deeper, not less, because you know it will pass. A story. A queen named Metta loved a rare jade blossom that bloomed every many years. She kept it locked in a room, terrified to witness its decline. When it finally withered, she had robbed herself of the joy of its bloom. The Buddha gently taught her, to fear endings is to kill beauty twice. First by clinging, then by denying the end. To live well is to be present with the bloom and the falling petals. Practical thread. Begin to train your mind with small observations. Notice one impermanent thing every hour. The sky's color, the taste of your tea, a laugh that fades. Say inwardly, this is changing. The mind slowly calibrates. It stops treating every small shift like an emergency. The illusion of control and suffering source. Our suffering arises less from events and more from the story we write about events. This should not happen, the mind says, and it adds a drama. If this happens, I will be ruined. The script fuels anxiety. Think of someone driving a car and grabbing the steering wheel so tightly that their knuckles whiten. The hands are tense, reflexes narrow. A small bump becomes terrifying. When instead the driver relaxes, they respond fluidly. Control is not harmless. It often narrows the field of action. The Buddha taught that craving and aversion, wanting and rejecting, are the roots of suffering. We want what we don't have, and we reject what we do. The more we cling to permanence, the more we set ourselves up to suffer when the inevitable shift arrives. Real life scene. Arjun had a beloved partner. When their relationship changed, panic rose like a furnace. Sleepless nights, compulsive checking, imagining endless scenarios. He thought the only remedy was to fix the external variable, to save the relationship. But the change had already begun. The only place he could find real peace was inside his own mind. Through meditation, he learned to see emotions as guests. They arrive, have a voice, then pass on. When he stopped trying to force outcomes, clarity emerged. His actions became kinder, less reactive, and the relationship either transformed or concluded with less harm. Short practice. When worry arises, ask, is there an action I can take right now that helps? If yes, act. If not, return to breath. This separates power from habit. Practicing presence, embracing the now. If impermanence is true, then the only place to live is the present moment. Buddhism gives us practices to ground us here. Breath awareness, mindful walking, body scans. These practices aren't escape. They train you to see life as it is and respond with clarity. Micro practice. 4 to 6 breaths anchor. Spoken slowly. Breathe in for 4 counts. Hold 1, breathe out for 6. Do this 3 times. Feel your shoulders drop. Your mind shows its habit loops. Notice without joining them. Mindfulness doesn't require sitting for hours. It can happen while washing dishes, hearing a child laugh, or waiting at a bus stop. The art is to be present enough to notice movement. With this notice, the urge to clutch fades. Story of silent cafe owner. I once heard about a man who owned a noisy cafe. He began practicing mindful tea making, graceful, sensual, deliberate. His presence infected the place. Regulars said the cafe felt calmer. He had not changed the external world. He had changed the way he met it. Presence is contagious. Impermanence in sleep and dreams. Notice how dreams vividly show impermanence. You might be in a palace, then a street corner, then flying, all in a dozen breaths. You don't carry the palace back as proof of ownership. You wake and the dream dissolves. What would happen if you saw waking life like a dream, with the faculty to wake within it? Certain Buddhist methods, dream yoga and lucid dreaming practices, train awareness in sleep. You don't need to be esoteric to use these ideas. Simply keep a dream journal. Upon waking, write 1 line. Over weeks, patterns reveal themselves, recurring anxieties, imagery of loss, archetypal scenes. Dreams are like the mind's rehearsal stage. When you attend them with curiosity, you learn the scripts you habitually repeat. Practice suggestion. Place a small notebook by your bed. When you wake, even in half sleep, jot 1 image, 1 word. Over time, you'll notice themes that reflect waking concerns. This is data. Use it kindly. Past lives, karma, and the river of continuity. Many Buddhist traditions speak of continuity, not of a permanent self, but of a stream of causes and conditions we call consciousness. Whether you take past lives literally or as metaphor, the practical point remains. Patterns run deep. Karma simply means action and its ripples. Actions born of fear tend to reinforce fear. Actions born of kindness soften patterns. Imagine you are a river with currents shaped by centuries. Some eddies persist. If you toss pebbles of kindness, the eddies slowly smooth. So your present actions matter. They are the shaping force of future mind states. Illustration. There was a monk who remembered past life loss after loss. Instead of despair, he saw patterns of attachment repeating. With gradual ethical practice, generosity, truthfulness, compassion, the loop began to open. The monk didn't rewrite the past. He introduced new causes that soften future ripples. This helps us reframe guilt and shame. Karma is not a jail sentence. It's the physics of cause and effect. With mindful action, you redirect the flow. The courage to let go. Real stories. Let me tell you 3 short human stories, each a small lamp. Sita's nightmare. Sita suffered from terrifying nightmares after loss. Each morning she rose shaking. She feared sleep. A teacher taught her Metta, loving kindness, before bed. May I be safe. May I be peaceful. Slowly her dreams softened. The nightmares didn't vanish overnight, but she built an inner sanctuary. When fear visited, she met it with warmth. Rahul, the businessman. Rahul's shortcuts at work gave him brief success and persistent guilt. He lost sleep, When he shifted to honest dealings and small acts of service, his nights calmed. The external world did not immediately change, but his internal weather did. Clear conscience brings sleep. Anew the artist. Anew clung to a style. When the world's taste shifted, she clung harder and burned out. A mentor invited her play, to try new mediums and fail bravely. As she opened to change, creativity returned. She found that impermanence freed her to explore rather than falter. Each of these people practiced the same medicine. Notice small action, kindness, not instantaneous miracles, but steady transformation, techniques for cultivating peace. Here are concrete practices, a toolkit you can use daily. Moment scanning, twice a day, stop for 1 minute. Scan your body, name sensations. Say silently, this is changing. Repeat 3 times. Impermanence notation for 1 week. Write down 3 things each night that change during the day. Review weekly. You'll see change is constant and nothing collapses forever. Loving kindness before sleep, a 5-minute metta practice. May I be safe, may I be well, may I live with ease. Extend it to others. This soothes the nervous system and rewires habits. Micro-surrender ritual. When overwhelmed, physically open your hands for 5 breaths. Imagine letting go. This bodily cue trains a mind. Dream journal. Mention. 1 short line each morning builds awareness. Ethical micro-commitments. Choose 1 small virtuous act per day. Honesty, generosity, patience. These reshape karma into peace. Presence anchor. Pick a practical anchor. A toothbrush, a cup, a doorway. Each time you touch it, take 1 breath and notice. Tiny resets build a new brain. Each practice is small, replicable, and designed for real human life. Over weeks, the cumulative effect is profound. Deep meditation, sitting with change. Longer meditation trains the mind to hold storms without collapsing. Start with 15 minutes daily. Posture, upright, stable. Focus, breath or bodily sensations. When thoughts arise, name them. Thinking, planning, fearing, and return. A cornerstone is noting, a gentle mental label. Noting doesn't analyze. It watches. Over months, insight arises. Thoughts are events. Sensations are events. Nothing requires a permanent identity. That insight is liberation. Guided micro-sit 2 to 3 minutes. Voice pacing. Breathe in for 4, breathe out for 6. Notice the soft belly rise. If a thought comes, label gently. Thought and return. Pause 40s of soft time silence. When ready, open eyes slowly. These pauses are where the mind learns space. In that space, impermanence is not a scary law. It is the backdrop of freedom. Advanced perspectives, astral, lucid dreams, and conscious sleep. Some contemplative traditions explore consciousness beyond waking. Lucid dream practice, dream yoga, even descriptions of subtle bodies that travel while the physical body sleeps. These are advanced territories. They aren't needed to find peace, but they illuminate the same truth. Awareness can move independent of a fixed identity. If you're curious, gentle steps. Cultivate lucid dream checks in daytime. Ask, am I dreaming? Set intention before sleep. Keep the dream journal. Over time, you may become aware within dreams, a powerful context to transform fear into creative exploration. Astral narratives can seem exotic. Take them as invitations to expand your understanding of mind's flexibility. Whether literal or metaphorical, they remind you consciousness is more fluid than your fixed stories. Integrating impermanence, daily living as practice. Impermanence isn't a practice you do for 10 minutes and then forget. It becomes a habit of being. Here's how to integrate it. Ritualize change. At breakfast, reflect on one thing that is different from yesterday. Bless it. Celebrate endings. When a project ends, say thank you and let it go. Create a small closing ritual. Practice gratitude for all phases. Winter, spring, youth, aging. Each holds its own gifts. Teach children temporality. Use stories to show that change is normal and safe. When impermanence becomes a friend, your life grows fuller, not emptier. You are more present in love, more daring in work, and more compassionate with loss. The paradox really, loss is doorway to depth. There is a Buddhist paradox you must taste. The very pain of loss is often the doorway to deeper meaning. Lost pries open the heart. When you face genuine sorrow and survive, your compassion expands. This isn't masochistic praise of suffering. It's the honest recognition that suffering, when met wisely, transforms you. Look at teachers who have walked through grief. Their presence becomes a balm. They've learned impermanence so deeply that their responses are spacious, not reactive. We can practice the same maturation in small doses. Exercise. When grief visits, don't armor. Sit with it. Name it. This is grief. Breathe. Place a hand on the chest. The feeling may be sharp. Let it be met. Over time, grief weaves sweetness into the fabric of life. Practical roadmap. 30-day impermanence challenge. If you want a structured way to embody impermanence, try this 30-day challenge. Week 1, notice 3 moments daily when something changes. Journal 1 line. Week 2, breathe. Add a daily 5-minute breath practice, 4/6 out. Week 3, open hands. Do 1 micro surrender. Open palms. During stress, practice Metta nightly. Week 4, create and release. Start a small creative project with intention to finish, celebrate, and release. Journal weekly. How did your reactions shift? Notice less gripping, more curiosity. The goal isn't perfection, it's consistent rewiring. Final meditation and blessing. Let's close with a brief meditation. Sit comfortably. Close your eyes. Inhale 4 counts. Exhale 6. Feel the breath like a tide. Imagine a golden thread through your heart that stretches and loosens with each out-breath. On each inhalation, feel presence. On each exhalation, feel release. Now mentally repeat. This 2 changes. I am learning to flow. Repeat 3 times. When you're ready, open your eyes slowly. Impermanence is the heartbeat of existence. It is the reason every moment contains value. When you learn to move with change, not as escape, but as awakening, you discover a peace that is not brittle, but alive. If this video helped, share it. If you're on the 30-day challenge, right below, I read each comment and I'll share reflections. Subscribe to #BodhiSensei for more teachings, guided meditations, and dream work practices. And before you go, one final note. Tonight, close your eyes and thank one thing that changed for the good. It could be small, a coffee, a hello, a clear sky. Let gratitude be the anchor in the river. May you live with grace. May you learn to let go, and may change be the gateway to your deepest peace.